Oh, well, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. Congratulations to the department on 10-year anniversary. Congratulations to Brian, to Gil, and all the faculty and the students. You're part of something special here. When Brian asked me to speak, it kind of took me down memory lane. He asked me to talk about my time here in the bioinformatics program and the career journey that I've had since. So it's a real pleasure to do that with you today. So the title of my talk, and it's hard to believe, is reflecting on 20 years in bioinformatics. It was about 20 years ago today that I joined the program, the bioinformatics program. And so I'll give you a little bit of insight. So let's see here. There we go. Okay, so 3 themes for today. The first is gratitude. A huge thank you to the leaders of this program and for the opportunity to be one of the first graduate students. This experience kind of set me on my journey, and it has really been a continuous theme from actually the first projects I did 20 years ago to what I'm doing today. I'm not saying that that's a rule, and you all have to continue to work on what you're working on in your graduate studies for 20 years, but it happened to work that way for me. So a big thank you to the program, the leadership of the program. What I'm going to do in my talk is take you through a few stories. As I was kind of looking back, I've got a few chapters in my career, starting with my time in the program. And my hope is to leave you with a few lessons learned, especially for the students who are in the thick of it right now. To think about how you might best spend your time, what things you might focus on, what perspective you might bring to your work. So I hope I can leave you with some valuable lessons learned. So let's start with stories. And so the chapter 1 of my story in bioinformatics is the University of Michigan Bioinformatics program. So as was just alluded to, I came to the program as a MSTP student. Actually, before I was an MSTP student, I was just a medical student. Very proud to be a medical student at the University of Michigan, but I found out quickly that I really wasn't in love with the idea of practicing medicine. I loved the science, I loved the problems, but didn't love the idea of practicing medicine. And I admire those who do. All of my former classmates, lots of them I keep in touch with, but I've kind of found it really just wasn't for me. But at this time, sort of late 90s, early 2000s, we've got the human genome, and now we've got a technology which is now like this old time technology, DNA microarrays, and we're beginning to generate for the first time enormous amounts of data. We didn't call it big data back then. We didn't really have that term. But for me, this prospect of using something that I always felt gifted at, mathematics, and the big data and genomics, to unravel complex human disease was just kind of the coolest thing that I could imagine working on. And so kind of the first kind of lesson learned for me is this was like big light bulbs going off, like intersection of what I'm good at, what's really interesting to me, and what matters to society. And so with those things coming together, I really felt like I found my calling and passion. And so I would encourage each of you, when you're thinking about the work you're doing, make sure you find work that lines up with your passion. Don't get trapped in kind of incremental projects that or a space that you're just not that interested in. Even if it sets you back, even if it puts you behind, find the area that you're passionate about. So like I said, I transitioned from medical school to the medical scientist training program. This was sort of my kind of half step out of medicine. I'll tell you in a bit how I ended up taking the full step out of medicine, but joined the bioinformatics program and was just so fortunate to meet and then study with Dr. Rul Chanayan, who of course now is one of the greatest cancer genome scientists on the planet and has just had seminal contributions. Way back when I was a Rul's first graduate student, he had just published a Nature paper on prostate cancer genomics. I had read that paper with great interest and sort of knew right then, if I liked this guy, this is who I was going to train with, because he was just doing incredible work. My first meeting with a Rul, having had some experience coding and doing mathematics, and telling a Rul, I don't really think I'm going to be that good in the laboratory, but this data problem is something that's for me. In that first meeting, when I was just considering working with him, he said to me, what if we tried to put together all of the world's published cancer genomic information? What could we do with that? And I left thinking, oh wow, I mean, this is like a dream come true. Like I could not only advance the field and advance our scientific understanding of cancer, but also could build something that had impact. And so it was that first meeting that set me on my journey with Arul. And I remember thinking, I like this guy because he thinks big. Arul is not an incrementalist. He's looking for the next big challenge, the next big opportunity to advance research. So I've kept that kind of feeling I had after that first meeting with me for my whole career. Like, think big, let's do things that really matter. So as a graduate student now, having committed to Arul's lab and to the bioinformatics program, finishing those first years of medical school, which were somewhat painful for me, but then moving into graduate studies, I found that this was like kind of the most incredible opportunity you could imagine. Your only real job as a graduate student is to dive as deep as you can into a domain, into a space, and become a true expert, and then look for opportunities to make an original contribution yourself. And so I did that, and I loved it because I had found an area that I was passionate about. I consumed everything. And when I have time, I still do today. Sometimes I rely on some of the folks on my team to do the consuming and then share with me. But back as a student, I consumed everything. I read every paper that was relevant to our space. Then just read the papers. I read every detail of all of the supplementary information. And I studied it so that I truly understood the work that author had done to deliver their scientific impact. I think too often, students take a light look at others' work and don't go all the way in. And I would encourage you, go deep, study the supplementary information for the leaders in your field, for the great work that they've done and published. Make sure you know it almost as well as they do, because then you can take the next leap. So you'll only ever be able to do this in your career as a graduate student. As you move into your career into faculty positions or into industry, you'll never have the time and space that you do as a graduate student. So take advantage of it and use that time. Okay, so in Arul's group, we did incredible work on cancer genomic data, but we also said, let's not just do bioinformatics for ourselves. Let's build something. So we built a cancer genomic database and web application called Oncomine. So that grand challenge that Arul gave me at the beginning, what if we could assemble all the world's published cancer genomic information? We did that, and we didn't just do research, we built a product really to enable our research, but equally importantly, to enable the research of others. So when I think back to that work in building Oncomine, I learned how to build data models, how to build data curation pipelines, how to build data analysis pipelines, statistics, and then also how to build software. I didn't do all that work myself. We had a team, but I learned how to go from a concept and data to product. And so this is another thing. Now, this isn't going to be right for everyone, but I would say when you have the opportunity, don't just do bioinformatics for your own research. To the extent you can, build something and share it with the world, because if you can, you'll just absolutely amplify the impact of your work. And that's what we were able to do with Oncomine. Now, Arul is well-resourced laboratory, right? So I can't say that, I can't take that for granted. So when we were building Oncomine, we had scientists, IT folks, database administrators, web application developers, and data curators, all as part of the team. And so that's another thing I learned as a graduate student is you can't do it all alone. You really need to find others who have skill sets that you don't have and bring together a team around a common cause. And that experience I had building that Oncomine team is something that really carried through to my career in building companies. And so it really, as Bo said, it really is all about the team. So with that Oncomine experience, we grew that application to ultimately have tens of thousands of users globally. I always had an entrepreneurial bent. I always wanted to build a company, even from early days in my PhD. And so we connected early on with the Office of Technology Transfer. So this is another just point to make. If you're doing work that's leading to new software applications or new intellectual property around diagnostics or therapeutics. We have an incredible Office of Technology Transfer here at the University of Michigan, and they will partner with you shoulder to shoulder to understand the novelty of your work and to file patents, to file copyrights and trademarks and the like. So we did that in the early days of Oncomine. We said, hey, we're going to make this resource available to all academic researchers free of charge for not-for-profit research. But we're going to require pharma companies to license access through the University of Michigan. And this brought in funding for the laboratory and also showed us that we really had a business opportunity here. And so I was able to lean on the Office of Technology Transfer, Rule and I were, to advance this ultimately to what became chapter 2 for me, which is spinning this work out and creating a company around it. I would be remiss if I didn't look back and think about using the Oncomine database together with Scott Tomlins and a rule to, pardon?
5 minutes.
Yep. Well, I think we're just going to go right to chapter 2, 3, 4, Brian. Thank you. This is the fun part anyways. So we discovered gene fusions from the database and then went on and won the AACR Team Science Award from that. So it's something we're all quite proud of. After Michigan, we spun that work off and I transitioned from graduate student to CEO. Very interesting transition. Expert in the data and the application, but really knowing nothing about building a business. My advice to anyone who has that entrepreneurial bent is take advantage of this incredible community we have in Ann Arbor. Tech Transfer, Ann Arbor Spark, and all sorts of programming inside the University of Michigan. Fast Forward Medical Innovation, the MTRAC program, the Michigan Biomedical Fund. You have this incredible community just waiting for brilliant students and faculty to take their technology out and create companies around it. And they're just really waiting to help you do that. So we were able to do that with Compendia and build a really incredible company. A company was acquired. This is a process as well. And so moving from Compendia, small startup, that was my thesis work, to a Fortune 100 company in Thermo Fisher Scientific, incredible opportunity to build diagnostics and lead teams. And this is really where I learned how to truly lead teams and how to be a leader in an organization. Incredible mentors, and just really emphasized for me the importance of leadership. We did a lot of great work there. Ultimately, that kind of moved my work out of the kind of theoretical data domain and into the physical world of diagnostics and delivering real value to patients, which has really been central to my personal mission and what I'm working on and delivering. So that leads me to where I am now. So this is my second company called Strata Oncology, where I'm the CEO. We're a precision oncology company. We're sequencing tumor genomes and transcriptomes to drive personalized treatment. And we're really trying to take the next leap beyond tumor mutations and into multivariate DNA and RNA predictive biomarkers for cancer therapeutics. Been an incredible experience with incredible co-founders and investors, and now delivering on what we think is a really big vision. So this is kind of last lesson learned is this idea of visioning. It works. Create a vision for yourself, for the work that you're doing, for your team, and really try to detail that clearly. And you can really make kind of anything you dream up come true is my real belief. All right, so gratitude, stories, lessons learned. I've got the list there. This is what I took from being a graduate student in my career path. I hope it was helpful to the students here. Special thanks to those listed, and I'll stop there. Thank you.